brainwashed, challenging the myth of black inferiority. We are not conscientious consumers of media. So I critique films and show significant aspects of the films so that we can begin to become aware of what people are doing, how they are portraying us. So I saw The Help, and it was one of the most disgusting films that I've ever seen. But what was even more disturbing was a number of black folk, particularly sisters, who I talked with after the film, who said that they really liked the film. And they liked the film because they did not have a historical understanding of that whole period in our history. They didn't know, I forget the name of the organization, but there's an association of African American female historians who are based at Howard University, and they wrote a wonderful critique of the film, a historical critique of the film, to put that story into historical perspective, and provided a list of books that you can read that give you a more thorough narrative of what these black women had to endure. There were thousands of black women who were raped. Young girls who were raped, who spent their lives working for white folk, cleaning their houses. I listened to an interview that was done just last week with the sister who's the head of the National Council of Negro Women. I forget her name, but she's the sister who replaced late Dorothy Height. And she talked about the film Help and how disturbing it was to her because her mother was the help, living in the South. Her mother was the help. And she told a story of how when, I forget what part of the South she grew up in, but when she was 13 years old, let me make sure I get it right now. When she was 13 years old, let me back up, her grandmother was the help. And when her mother was 13 years old, her mother was being groomed to be the help because that's what you did. When you became old enough to clean and work for massa, you were now groomed to go and work in their houses. And so she said that her grandfather was home one day when a wealthy white man came into his house and said that your daughter is 13, she's old enough to work now, I want her to come and cook in my kitchen. And the grandfather knew that what that meant was I want her to work in my house so I could sexually molest her. Like Sperm Thurman did to the black woman who worked in his house. She had to wait until he died to say that was my dad. So this sister said that her grandfather made a point right then and there to say no more the women in my household will work for white people. So he worked overtime, double time, to raise enough money to send them to school, to send them to college, so that they would never have to degrade themselves to be servants for white folk again. So this is part of the story that's not being talked about. We're looking at this benevolent white woman who's helping these black women tell their story, helping them emote and get over their pain and their hardship. Then I deal with the fact that y'all white people are the source of the pain. Not just the woman who's giving you a hard time, but her husband and her daddy and her granddaddy and her great-granddaddy. For generations, they created the system which put in place the process of which African men were beaten down to the point that in an act of insanity, they would abuse their women because they had been abused all their life. You got to put all this stuff into historical context. But what we see is black men abusing black women and black women banding together because black men ain't no good.
Right.
And your only salvation, black women, is white women.
Right.
They got your back. That's the message that the help tells you. So the white girl, Skeeter, writes the book about these black women. And she goes on to fame and fortune while they're stuck in Mississippi. You go head on, gal, we gonna be all right. You do like your grandparents did and use us as a stepping stone. We gonna be all right, because we used to that. We happy being the help. We're being insulted. Right. And we're paying to be insulted because we don't have the historical knowledge to critique the insult. So I refer to the help as Skeeter's Pie. So for those of y'all who have seen the movie and you know about the lion with the pie, the movie is Skeeter's Pie. And Skeeter has served us a mess, which we have eaten because of our ignorance, and we liked it so much that we asked for a second help. So we got to do better, folks. And once we do better, folk will begin to respect us. Because we've changed the dynamic. Because you can have a man